computer. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, let's start talking about what we are going to, to be talking today. Let me share my screen.
I'd like to know who you are, lady. Who are you?
Hi, I'm driving.
Hi, how are you?
Leticia.
Hi, nice to meet
you. Very nice meeting you too.
Good, thank you.
Okay, we are going to share what we will be talking about today, right? So let's...
Mary, for those of the girls that don't know you, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm me. I'm Mari de Caires. Letty knows me. So, but there's a lot of people that doesn't know me. I am a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with inflammatory breast cancer stage 3 in 2010. I did all the chemo, radiations, and I did a lot of the alternate treatments. I did hypnosis, visualizations, supplements. I did everything that I, in addition to the traditional treatments. And then God have blessed me in being very positive. So I got cured like in 6 months of, I had a very aggressive breast cancer. And I'm blessed. I was in treatment. I was in Herceptin for a year. I had 8 chemos and 30 radiations. But when I had the radiations and the year of treatment, I was cancer-free already. So, and I had all the issues that most of the people are having. I thought that my sexual life ended there, that, that it was a chapter, that it wasn't, it was the end of my sexual life. And I accepted that. I said, okay, I'm fine. I had a great sex life. So, it was perfect. It already passed. But then like a year ago, I don't know why, I decided that I wanted to start dating again and trying to find a partner, a long time, my last partner. And I said, okay, if I wanted to do this, I need to solve this issue. So I started finding out what to do, because I remember going to the doctor and ask the doctor, okay, what can I do? And she was like, those are the symptoms of chemo, menopause. You can use like a little estrogen suppositories with a little bit. You can use repellents, but it didn't, I didn't want to use the estrogen because I was worried, even that my cancer was estrogen negative, but I was scared. And the repellents, it helped a little bit, but it didn't, for real, it didn't took the pain away, because it was very painful. And the problem is when sex is painful, you get a trauma. So your mind wanted to run away from pain. You want what gives you pleasure, but pain, you run like, to the hills. You don't want to know anything about it. So what happened is you stop having sex and you start getting worse because you have the vaginal atrophy. So if your vagina is a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. So at the end of the day, when you want to come back, you are having a lot of issues. And in this year, I have found a lot of solutions. And in the last month, and I don't have a partner, and I'm not having sex with anybody. But I think I did some treatments, but I did it for me, because I'm a woman of faith. And I said, if I'm looking for a partner, I'm going to find it. God is going to give it to me. But I don't want to wait until I find a partner to find the solutions. So, and I'm not, I'm looking for a partner long time. My last partner not to be dating and, and sleeping with anybody. That's not the idea. So that's kind of my story. And now I wanted to share with people because I know a lot of women are having a hard time. They are having problems with their partners. I got a divorce. Of course, my relationship wasn't perfect, but when sex is working, sex is 10% of the relationship and the rest you go. But when it's not working, sex is 90% of the relationship. So if you don't have anything else good going on, if sex is not working, that's the end of it. So there's a lot of people that, they need the glue to keep their marriage together. And so that's why I wanted to share. So now we are going to talk about what we are going to be looking today. So we are looking to find a wonderful sex life and get our sexy back. So we are going to talk about the painful sex potential solutions, because there's a lot of solutions, but not one works for everybody. People need, ladies, you need to go to the doctor. And if you know what solutions are out there, you can tell the doctor, do you think this one specific will work for me? Or do you think this one will be better? Because if you leave in the hands of the doctor, he wouldn't give you these solutions. And my daughter is a doctor, and I asked her, why doctors don't give you those solutions? And she was like, they are not trained for that. The oncologist is trained to save your life. The gynecologist is, trained to find if you are sick, if you are okay, if you have cancer, but they are not worried about your sex life. So if we have the tools, we know what we can ask, then they can help us with that. So, or if, if your doctor cannot help you, find a therapist, that here we are going to talk a lot about that. So you will have like a toolbox of what to ask, what do you need to know. So, and the other thing is the lack of libido is due to a lot, some of the potential solutions for that are, to do tests, blood flow analysis, and some more that we are going to be talking now, right? And now I want to welcome Jan and to join me in this conversation. Let me stop sharing. Bear with me because technology gets me like,
okay. No, you're doing
I
good.
think I got it. I got it.
Good. Let me put some light on the subject here. Oh, I look so much better now.
No, light helps a lot.
It does help a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's great. Glad to be here, Mary. Well, let me give you guys a little bit of my background. I was diagnosed in 2012 with invasive ductal carcinoma, stage 2B. Like so many women, no family history. It's really interesting. I somehow along the lines of my life, the media has said, oh, breast cancer is a really hereditary disease. It is, but so that means like if your mom had breast cancer, you have a higher propensity for getting breast cancer. The dilemma is what that brainwashed the rest of us with is that if we have no family history, we won't get it. But the statistic is that 85% of women diagnosed with breast cancer have no family history. So you should just know that it's somehow that messaging got muddled along the way somehow. So in 2012, it was interesting. I tackled things head on, and I got diagnosed, and I knew I was going to have surgery, and I was fine with the surgery, but I was petrified about chemo. And I don't know why that is, because I'm not a fearful person. And so I have 10 girlfriends that had gone through breast cancer before me. And so I thought, oh, well, I'm a big Facebooker, so I'll just put together a Facebook group so I can answer or ask my questions and get them answered by them. Because I wanted to know things like, what are the weirdest things that happen to you that nobody talks about? I wanted to get into it, and so I made a group, and then I was like, well, I don't know what to call the group. So I called it Booby Buddies, because what else would you call it? So that's what it is. And now there's been a few thousand girls that have gone through Booby Buddies over this last 9 years. So there you go. There you have it. God decided to blow it up. And over the years, I've created some different groups also. The biggest one right now with, there are about, oh shoot, I should have looked, but over 4,000 active members is Sex After Breast Cancer, which is why we're here today. And one of the things that was important to me is because my intimate life got wrecked like many women's, because I went through menopause. I actually went through natural menopause rather than medically induced menopause, which some of you younger gals go through. But regardless, menopause is menopause. You lose your estrogen, you lose your libido, you lose your elasticity in your tissue. You're losing all kinds of different things, and no one seems to have any answers for it. And I am not someone that puts up with that. Like, there are answers to questions. And so when my oncologist, I just saw her 6 weeks ago or something, and she said, so what are you up to now? And I was telling her about my umbrella project is called Hope After Breast Cancer. And I said, I'm just trying to find answers for the questions that no one has answers for our community. And she said, Jan, it's interesting because, Mary, just what you said, in oncology, we're here to kill the cancer. That's what we do. That is our number one job, and we're laser focused on it. I said, listen, I am not bashing you for not being able to help me with my sex life, but we need to get answers for the girls. We have to communicate the answers to the girls, and there are answers. So what I've done over this last few years, specifically for the sex group, is I have assembled a group of gynecologists, sex therapists, pelvic floor therapists, who else? I don't know, oncologists. I got everybody in a partridge in a pear tree in our expert group, and we've done a lot of videos in the Sex After Breast Cancer Facebook group, so you can join us. It is absolutely private, you guys. It is 1,000% private. You can search for it, but then you're going to be asked a series of questions to enter the group. I am pretty serious about keeping that a safe place. It's really interesting. This week, I literally let people in the door one at a time because I check them out, right? I want to know what your diagnosis was and what year. I want to know if you're a creeper or not, right? I don't want anybody like that in. But this week we've had a ton of girls whose first names, we have a lot of internationals, so their first names, like one of their first names was Beck. To me, Beck is a man's name. So I immediately went over to her profile and just to check to see if she was male or female. So she was female, so that's fine. I can let her in the door. But I just want you to know, I mean, nothing's 100% bulletproof, but I do my best to make sure that we're a safe community. And certainly within the community, you can always just click the little down arrow next to a post if you think somebody's a little off base so that you want me to check them out. No problem. You can report it to the admins. So that's fine. But that particular group is full of lots and lots and lots of discussion about all kinds of intimate situations. We're going to talk about a lot of solutions that our experts have shared with us today, and women report back. Well, did that work? Did that not work?
Sure.
Things don't work for everybody, you guys. I'm going to say this 5 times today. There is no one size fits all solution. There just is not. That's not the way we as women are built. We all have different bodies. Our systems react to medications, treatments, all of those kinds of things differently. So I just want to encourage you not to be discouraged if you try something and it doesn't work. Just go to the next solution. It's very much like being on a hormone blocker that gives you systemic pain, go back to your oncologist and ask for a different one. Hello, you know, you don't have to sit and suffer. So, but you have to try things. You have to understand that there are solutions. So that's our biggest thing, is that we want to educate you about that. But the other things, our website is called hopeafterbreastcancer.com. And I'm actually going to show that to you today so that you can see where to find all of the Sex After Breast Cancer videos in one place. And so we've got a lot of resources for you. So I'm really grateful that Mary decided to invite me here today. So that's good. So Mary, what should we do next?
Okay, I'm so glad that you are here. You don't know, but you have helped me a lot. Because in Sex After Breast Cancer, I had found a lot of solutions that I didn't know existed. So Thank you.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. And I know that many, many marriages have been salvaged because it is hard. It's really, really hard when a woman, especially like has no libido, and the husband's looking at her cross-eyed like, you know, are you lying to me? Are you,
Yes,
you know, they don't
they
know.
don't understand. They don't
They
understand.
don't understand. One of the really cool things that I have heard from a lot of the women in the Sex After Breast Cancer group, and I may call it the sex group as we're talking, okay? The sex group. A lot of women say that they show the videos to their husbands. And I think that's a really good education for them. It was funny. My husband Greg was in here yesterday, and he was helping Mary and I with some of the technology. And I said to him, "Hey, I'm going to show you this this handout that I made for Mary's group, and it'll be a little bit of gynecological education." He said, "Do I need that?" And I said, "You can always use more, brother." So, so I kind of went through it with him, and he was like, "Oh boy."
No, but that's good. Because I remember my ex-husband telling me, "You don't want to do anything about this," and I'm like, "I want to do it, but I don't know what to do."
Right.
I don't feel like doing anything. So it's like, and they don't understand.
They don't. No, they don't understand physiologically what happens to our bodies when all of that, like we just get hit with a firestorm of different things that all of them go against us wanting to have sex. So that's unfortunate. But we're going to talk about some of the solutions. And for the record, I am not a medical professional. I am just Jan. I am sharing what I know, but I don't know. I haven't tried all of these solutions personally. Mary and I are going to talk about the things that we have used and that kind of thing. But again, you have to kind of take the list and try different things. And please come and join our group, because then you can see in there which things, what the girls are saying about each of those things. Okay. And I'll give you a little feedback today about what my sense is about success rates and things like that. But again, there is no one size fits all. There may be something that everybody in the group has tried and it didn't work for them, and it will work for you. So you just have to give it a whirl. So we'll go through all of that. So should we start to go through the list, Mary? Or you know what? I would like to know your story, because you use PRP, right?
Yes, I did the PRP like 6 weeks ago.
So what is PRP, girl?
PRP is, you know, the plasma that you use for your face, that they take your blood, they centrifuge, how do you say it?
Yeah, they put it in the they take the plasma and put it in the centrifuge,
and
right?
Then
they take the blood and then pull out the plasma.
And they pull out the plasma. And for the face, I did it like 7 days ago, my face. They injected and it produces collagen. So I did that in my vagina. But that is funny. Let me tell you why. I remember when I was younger, people talk about that they did vaginal rejuvenation. And I was like, why do people need to do that? So
when you're younger, you don't think.
You know, what? It's so stupid. Why they want to do that? Now I know why. So there's a reason. It's like when you are 20, you look at 40-year-old like,
right,
they are old. And now I'm 65, and people that is 70, wow, they you know, they're still young. So you know, their perspective changes. So,
Yeah.
but as I told you, I don't have a partner. So I did the PRP for myself, right? And because I'm waiting to meet somebody, right? That I can,
Right.
you know, get married or have a life together. So the doctor told me that in order for this to work, I need to use the vaginal dilatators.
Dilators.
Dilators.
I'm gonna be your interpreter for right now.
Okay,
Some of
perfect.
the words. Okay, good. No, vaginal dilators, and we're gonna show you those. So yeah.
Yes, and because when I was married like 6 years ago, sex was so painful after, because while I was in chemotherapy, it was perfect. Maybe you know the steroids that they give you help you with that, but then after I finished treatment, it was so painful. It was like you had like a sandpaper in there. It was awful.
I always said that it felt like glass shards.
Yes.
That I was getting raped with glass shards.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
No, you don't want it. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you get a trauma
Yeah.
and you associate that with sex. So for
Right.
6 years, I didn't want, no, I don't even feel like having sex. I didn't
Right.
have a thought about it.
How
It
was your
like,
libido? Was your libido gone
yeah,
too?
completely.
Mine too.
So-
Gone.
Gone completely. It was like, what's going on? And I said, okay, that's it. The chapter
Right.
ended and
All over. Right. Right.
so after I went to interview a doctor about the PRP, right? And they call it also the O shot.
The O shot. Right.
And I went and I was interviewing her and she went like, do you want to try it? And I'm like, I wasn't prepared to try it. She said, but you know, if you're going to talk about it. So I did the treatment. It's not inexpensive.
How much did you pay? How much did you pay?
1,500.
Right, because it's not covered by insurance. The
No,
insurance
it's
doesn't
not.
care about our sex lives, which is really
Just
unfortunate.
men's,
So,
you know, insurance worry about men's sexual life, but not women.
right, not ours. Yeah,
So-
right.
so
So
I have
that's
to pay
one of
it.
the things we have to just recognize that. Maybe that'll change. Was it painful, that treatment? Because
No.
they do an injection into
No,
your
but
vagina,
she
right?
used a numbing cream
Yes.
and then she put ice. And
Right.
it was like a little pressure, but nothing bad.
Awesome.
And the first time that like 2 days later, I started using the delay, how do you call it?
Dilator.
Dilators. And
Would you show those guys what
Oh,
the
yeah, I
you
have
have a
it
dilator
here.
set there?
it comes
Okay, so,
in different sizes.
okay,
So
so
you
they
start with the
literally,
little one
yeah,
and you go increase. But let me tell you, after the O shot, I was able to use this one.
oh, hello.
So without pain. And it's like a therapy because you need to use it for 20 minutes, do kegels, you know, it's like a whole. And it was good because it was so painful before. And I was without having sex for 6 years.
Right.
So
right.
I'm sure I had vaginal atrophy because I haven't used those muscles.
Right.
So it changed the whole, you know, the whole game.
Right.
And I sometimes I feel like a friend of mine asked me, why did you do it if you don't have a partner? I said, you need to do things for yourself, not for anybody else.
Right. Right.
And
well, think about how that would increase your confidence and your
of course,
just the way you feel about being whole and everything after cancer. I think that's great that you did
yes,
that.
and it like you do massage for yourself, you do
Sure.
different stuff, you read, it's the same thing.
Right.
And you need to do things for you, and then if you need, it's, you know, you can give it to somebody else, that experience, but you cannot do something for somebody else and not for you.
Right. Right.
So, and many people don't do anything, not only with sex, no, they don't go to the spa, they don't read, they don't meditate for them. And you need to do things for you. They will do it if the partner wanted to do it, but not for them. So that's
Right.
important to do things for yourself.
I agree.
And,
I totally agree. Yeah.
And
So
also,
that's great.
I was using the hyaluronic acid suppositories like for already 8 months, and they work. They are
So
pretty
yeah,
good.
we'll talk about what they're used for. So
Yes,
yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, and the girls all talk about, oh, what lube, and there's a zillion lubes. I'm actually just updating a lube list that one of our experts gave me that is really comprehensive, which is great. You know, some people use coconut oil. I mean, it's all over the place, but there's, you know, and Mary, you had Replens there.
yes,
Um,
yes. The reference
uh,
that is a
I'm gonna,
moisturizer. Let me tell
yeah.
you, I didn't know before that women need to moisturize the vagina.
Right.
I had no
But
idea.
when you don't need it, then you don't need it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
but
no,
after I
that's true.
needed, I didn't know it was a thing. It was like,
Right,
what? Do I need to
right.
moisturize in there too?
Hmm.
So, because we know that we need to moisturize our face and our body since we are like 40 or something, you know?
Right.
But
Hey, you know what? I'm going to take a minute and talk about hormones. And
okay,
again, nothing, you guys, will take the place of you talking to your own doctor about your circumstances, okay? This is just like one girlfriend's opinion. Again, I'm not a doctor. Let's see, I was diagnosed in 2012. Let me think about it, 3 years before. Let me think, I was 50. Let me think about how old I was. I think I was 52 when I was diagnosed. So say at 49, I was dragging my butt. I mean, I was so out of energy. I was just totally depleted. And a girlfriend at work had gone and gotten hormone pellets. And she was singing their praises. She was like, oh my gosh, I feel so different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, if you don't know what that is, so it would be called bioidentical hormone replacement. So, BHRT, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy is what it is. And they take your blood and they create in a compound pharmacy a pellet is what they call it. It looks like a grain of rice, and it has hormones in it that are particular to you. They're made for you according to what your blood work shows. Okay, they do a little tiny incision on your butt, okay, just on the fatty part of your butt, and they slide that pellet in and they put a band-aid over it and you're out of there. Okay, now what happens over the next 3 months is that pellet is depleted, that those hormones go into your bloodstream, and I am telling you, I felt like $1,000,000 after my first pellet, and I felt pretty good. Like really, like 2 or 3 days later, I was like, what's in this stuff? Holy smokes, you know, she was right, my girlfriend was right, and everything. I did it for 3 years, and then I was diagnosed with estrogen fed breast cancer. And I'm saying that for a very specific reason. I had like zero estrogen in my system in my blood work. So they put a compound called estradiol in my pellet. No wonder it made me feel good, right? Because I had zero in my system, and then
sure.
boom. Okay. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. I can't stress that enough because I've had some fights in my Facebook groups about this. Because I'm a little militant about this. There is I am 1,000% sure that my BHRT pellets fueled the cancer. I am 1,000% sure. 1,000% sure. Because so I may have had a predilection to cancer, but there was nothing in my system to fuel it. But then when I put the estrogen in, boom, right? You know, the tumor started growing, that kind of thing. Okay, I had always had the tumor, the big tumor, was in the line, in the smile line. If you guys have had a smile scar, you know where that is, underneath the breast. And I always thought that the thickening of that skin was because my underwire was rubbing on it, and that it was, maybe it was like scar tissue
I
or
see.
whatever, right? But it was getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And then in the third year, I lost some weight, and I was in the shower and I was soaked up, and my hand just hit that area just in a certain way. And so I had lost some of the fat tissue there, and I went, oh crap, I've got cancer. I mean, I knew it as soon as my hand hit that area. Because now it was a lump, right? So that's my story. It's what I believe. Okay. But let me tell you what happened while I was on the pellets. I felt so good initially. I felt so, so good. But what happened is because my system was so depleted of estrogen, it was they only would give you a pellet insertion once every 3 months. That was the rule. You couldn't come back for 3 months, right? After just a few months of having the pellet, it started to deplete early. And I'm on the phone with them going, no, you have to get me in early because it's gone. I can tell it's gone. No, but you don't understand. And the girl on the other line would say, no, we have to wait for 3 months. And I'm like, no, can I tell you that that was drug seeking behavior? I had become addicted to the pellet, to what the pellet was doing. I have not had drug addiction problems before, but that was absolutely addiction behavior. For those of you that know it, you understand that. I was like begging her. I was willing to do anything. I'll come in. I can come in after work. I can, and it was horrid. And I couldn't see it when I was doing it at the time, right?
Sure.
And then I got diagnosed with cancer, and so I had to go off the pellet, and I was like, oh my gosh. And when I looked back at it, I thought, what? It's evil. I actually call places like the place I went called Sotapelli Therapy in Scottsdale, Arizona. I call them pellet factories because they take your blood. You have a really nice consult with the doctor, a real doctor. They tell you how the pellets work. It's going to be made especially for your system. It'll be for you. It's based on your blood work. And then you go in once every 3 months and they give you the cut, put it in, put the Band-Aid on it, off you go. Next girl, next girl, next girl, next girl. Yeah. And personally, I believe that the research has not caught up to BHRT. One of the experts that is on my team for the sex group is my girl, Chris Callaghan. She is my personal gynae, and she's a women's health educator. And I got to tell you guys, I found her after I started the sex group, it's a long story, but it was just, she's godsend. But the very first time I saw her, I said, so tell me about you, and she's giving me her background because I actually I had a beat on her. I thought, oh, she'll be one of our experts. And she's telling me how she goes and educates women all over the country. And I'm like, oh, dude, she's the one. Oh, I'm so excited about this. And then I said, she didn't know it, but I'm in the stirrups interviewing her, right? And I said, well, tell me what you think about BHRT. She said, oh, we do them here. And I was like, I thought, oh no, now she can't be my girl because she loves the pellets. And I said, Chris, I really believe that the pellets gave me cancer. And she said, Jan, the way that those other places do it, you can't do that. You have to watch the blood like a hawk. You have to take blood every couple of weeks. And I was like, oh, and she said, if I don't do them, people will go to those pellet factories and will get them and will have cancer. Sure. So I do them, but I do them like what did she call it? Strict surveillance, right? So she's doing it mindfully, going, okay, I understand that there's a depletion in the hormones, so I guess I will pony up on it, but I am not going to let them out of my sight. And see, that's a smart doc. Yeah. That's a super smart doc, right? So anyway, so she's been fantastic. She and I are just talking about doing a new set of videos. We do a new set of videos every year around this time. So we're just trying to get together to do that. But you've got a couple of years worth of videos on the page already and on our website that I'm going to talk to you about. So let me share my screen. And I'm going to show you a couple of different things. I'm going to go to this first. This is, oops, that's not the right one, Jan. Stop the share. Hang on. Let me try it again. Sorry. Wrong one. it's, oh, here we go. Okay. Let me show you this. So this is the thing that Mary posted in the group, and I'm going to actually post it in our group too, in the sex group here after we're done with this call. But I just put this together last week based on Chris's videos. And this is something that you literally could print off and take to your gynecologist. Okay. So that's the goal of this, that we wanted to give you something. It really is for education purposes only. It is my interpretation of what Chris has taught us. But here's the deal. In our group, there are other complaints, but the major complaints are lack of libido and painful intercourse. Without question. Without question. So I need you to know that this is, again, not a one size fits all thing. You have to go see your doctor to be diagnosed with what the cause is. You need to figure out what's ailing you, because here's the deal. Finding the cause could be a skin issue. When Mary's talking about hyaluronic acid, that is to increase the flexibility of the vulvar tissue. It kind of hydrates the tissue if it's gotten dried out, in essence. I mean, it doesn't get dried out like a piece of jerky, but it feels like it, right, girls? So, right? So the hyaluronic acid is just like, it's a little, it looks like a bullet. It looks like a wax bullet. And there's a applicator that you can just shoot it up your vagina, and then before you go to bed, and it really just hydrates that tissue, right? So sometimes the pain can be because of the skin issue. Sometimes it can be something to do with the nerve function. Sometimes it can be muscular problems. So, and then on top of all that, we all are just women. So, oh no, maybe you have fibroids, maybe you have endometriosis, maybe there's so many things that can be happening that are causing the problems that you've got to go to your provider. So when you do that, again, I'm really encouraging you to maybe take this piece of paper with you to just give them options. Here's why. I was telling Mary this story. One of the girls in the Booby Buddies is somebody that lives in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming, USA. And she had to drive 6 hours one way for breast cancer treatment to Denver. Think about that. I live in Phoenix. Mary lives in Miami. We have tons and tons of great doctors in our area. But my poor friend Mo does not have great doctors in her area. She had no oncologist for 6 hours. So think about what she's got as far as a gynecologist. I'm totally making this up because I haven't talked to her about it. But I think that the doctor in her little Wyoming town is 80 years old and hasn't opened a research article in 40 years. And he's a PCP and acts as a gynecologist. He's not really a specialist, right? So when you go to him and say, gee, hey, I want to talk to you about the O shot or the PRP, the plasma rich protein, he's going to go, huh? Right? I mean, so it depends. There's going to be girls that watch this video in all different places in the world. And so we need to make sure that you understand that some of those doctors may not know about all of these things. Be kind to them, okay? You know, if they say, oh, I don't know about PRP, you can just say, well, would you mind researching it and seeing if you think that it might be something that I can use? If the doctor gets frosty with you, you might want to try and find another doctor, right? You'll know, listen to your gut on that, but you want to have a doctor that's solution oriented. You want to have a doctor that is willing to make you a guinea pig to see if they can find a way to help you, right? So just, you know, use your own judgment on that. That's fine. So here's, I put this list together, and it says here, the lists are not exhaustive. They're really not. I mean, there's lots and lots of different things we're talking about on the page. Some solutions carry different levels of risk. I'm going to scoot back to the BHRT pellets, you guys. A few weeks ago, I I kind of got on my soapbox in the sex group, and yeah, if you go in there, you'll see. I did a video and said, "Oh, you guys, I haven't been on here in a few weeks, and so many of you are talking about using products that have estrogen in them, and please don't do that. I know that BHRT estrogen fueled my cancer, blah, blah, blah," right? Okay. And so, you should have seen the outrage that some of the girls wrote back with. They're like, "What do you know, Jan James?" And they're right. They're right. I'm just their girlfriend. They're totally right. But a lot of them were like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea." We need to be educated about the fact that any hormones may cause risk to us about a recurrence. We just, that's truth. That's truth.
Mhm.
Now, the decision about whether or not you use hormones is yours. It's not your doctor's, it's yours. Because there may be some instances where you want to use a hormone-based product because it's going to save your marriage, because you miss that intimacy too much, because there's lots of different, it's quality of life issue, right? So you have to really weigh that decision, but be educated about it. One of the things I teach my girls all the time is that you can get your numbers from your doctors, okay? Here's an example. When you get, if you're put on a hormone blocker and it's killing you, many girls have no side effects. Many girls have tons of side effects from blockers. If you go on a hormone blocker and you're having horrible systemic pain, you should go back to your oncologist and say, "I'm having really horrible pain. Can you tell me the percentage of risk I have for recurrence and mortality?" You want to get your numbers. Angelina Jolie had a mom who died at 52 from breast cancer. She was carrying the BRCA gene, and so Angelina Jolie's risk of getting breast cancer, if she did not have a mastectomy before being diagnosed with breast cancer, by the way, her risk of getting breast cancer was 86%. If she got a mastectomy, her risk of getting breast cancer was 5%. That's a total no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay? 86%, 5%. Hello. Now, your doctor may come back to you and say your percentage of recurrence is 50-50. Well, now it's not such an easy decision, but it could be 86.5. So you need to know the numbers. The doctors don't pull solutions out of their butt, okay? They absolutely understand the numbers. They may bristle if you ask for them, but just explain to them, "I just want to make a more educated decision. And I know that you know those numbers. I know that you understand why I'm asking." So, just depends on the provider, but some of them are a little frosty. My oncologist actually taught me to ask for the numbers. So I'm really grateful for her because she explained to me why that was so important. That's the way they learn what chemo you're going on, whether or not to do rads, all of the stuff. So anyway, so there you go. So you are going to have to weigh your risk benefit ratio, right? Okay. So there's good. Okay. Lack of libido. Here's a list of different things. Number one, you should definitely have a blood flow analysis, which is blood work, right? Then the things that are listed here, Vyleesi, Addii, Hercinergy, fenugreek, and macaroot, are all different solutions that could help with libido. I'm going to actually, after this call, I'm actually going to do a poll on the sex page to list these and say who has had good results with these. I just want to know if you've tried them, vote in the poll, because then we'll be able to see which ones women are having more success with. So watch for that if you're going to go on that page. On the painful sex thing, oh wait, I skipped over hormone pellets with strict monitoring, but I think we went over that, right? Okay, so you guys be careful about that. Anything with hormones is potentially problematic. I don't know if you know, but testosterone in a pellet actually can convert to estrogen. So I mean, it's a mess. Hormones are a little evil in my book, but that's just me. Okay, here's the potential solutions for painful sex. Now, if you have skin issues, which would include vaginal atrophy, these are the things. The reason I'm laughing is I'm going to tell you this story. The first time I saw Chris, my gynecologist, right? The first day I saw her, and I told you I was interviewing her while I was in the stirrups. It was really funny because number one, purple is my favorite color, and that's important to the story. And at one point, she said, "Oh gosh, you have vaginal atrophy." And I said, "I do." And she said, "Yeah, here." And she handed me a hand mirror. And she said, "Here, put it down here." I had never been told by a doctor to look at my own vagina. Honestly, you guys, seriously. And guess what? It was purple. I said, "You've ruined my favorite color for all time now. That's it." So all the tissue was purple. It was dying, in essence, is what was happening. So anyway, so that's my funny story about vaginal atrophy. So vaginal atrophy can absolutely be reduced or reversed, excuse me. We talked about hyaluronic acid. I've got it through a script for a compound pharmacy. I think Mary, did you buy it online?
I
Your
got it
acid?
online
Yeah.
from Bonafide. They have
Okay.
this-
Gotcha.
I don't know the difference between the ones that they do in the pharmacy and those.
No, and you know what? Chris is pretty good on the sex page to tell us that you can either get it online, or she'll tell us when we really need to see a doc about something. And actually, she's been so cool. She's even written when you go to a compound pharmacy, the doctor gives them a recipe to put some kind of compound together. That's what they do there. And so she's actually written out some of her recipes to put them on the page. Like if I can't remember, lidocaine solution. The reason I went to see Chris was because one of the girls had said, "Oh my gosh, lidocaine cream is so much easier to have sex and not painful sex."
Okay.
But then all of us were going, "But what about him?" Because I mean, right? Because I mean, then your partner's
It's
penis
normal.
goes limp, or it's all, everything is just so complicated. So that's fine. Anyway, okay, back to the list because we're running out of time. There is this laser resurfacing Mona Lisa fractional CO2. My observation in the group is that these things they're expensive, and they seem to be kind of 50-50. Again, I'm going to do the poll, and you can search in the group about women's stories about laser treatment. I have a really good friend who did Mona Lisa, and for the first week she was like, "Oh, Jan, changed my life, fantastic." And then she said, "Oh, now we're back to normal," meaning not good.
And nothing.
So it's like it worked at first, but and you have to keep doing it, I think, and it's expensive. So that's the rough stuff. Intrarosa, we talked about PRP, testosterone. Again, careful, because it's a hormone. And same thing, this vaginal topical estrogen is one of the reasons I had the big fight in my group. So, and again, it's just me. My girls call me Mama Bear because I tend to get a little militant about things, and I just want a little Mama Bear on the thing. I just don't want anybody to get a recurrence. That's it. I'm not trying to be bossy about it. I'm just, or maybe I am. I just want girls to understand that there's a risk there. So you have to be careful. I know. So I've worked with thousands of breast cancer girls over 9 years, thousands. I don't know how many thousands, 5, 6, 7,000, something like that. And I can't tell you, it's so sad. Like somebody will have, call it triple negative, that they get in their first diagnosis and then come back with a recurrence for triple positive. This breast cancer is another, it's just evil. It's like, it's sneaky. It's really sneaky. So I have women that have one type of breast cancer in one breast and a different type in another. You guys, I mean, the stuff that we've seen is so crazy. So it's not, you got to just be super careful and super smart about it. Now, one of the things that I was really praying for, literally, like Mary, I love Jesus, and pelvic floor therapy is a big deal. Mary showed you the dilators. So the dilators are to help stretch out the vagina to accommodate bigger and bigger size, right? They start small, they go bigger. Okay. Some women have something called vaginismus, which is almost like the door is closed. Sorry, nothing's coming in here. Some girls can't even get a tampon in their vagina. Okay. That is a muscular issue. There are muscles all around the vagina, and the pelvic floor is kind of, they call it the basket of muscles that need to be, they need to go through therapy in order to relax. Sometimes that vaginismus can happen because trauma. And by the way, breast cancer is considered trauma, or like Mary said, you've been having painful sex over and over and over again and just gritting your teeth. Trauma. You have to understand that your body reacts to that. Your body does want to flee from pain. So it might be worth finding a pelvic floor therapist that can help you with that. What they will do is teach you how to use the dilators. There are literally exercises you can do. You can find them on YouTube. It's hilarious. I mean, there's really a lot of information out there. So pelvic floor therapy, pelvic floor physical therapy, they call it, is a really important thing to know about. The pelvic floor therapist that we have as our expert found me on LinkedIn and just like dropped into my world, and she's awesome. So we've done 3 videos so far. She's kind of a new addition to our experts, but we're going to do a bunch more in September. So watch for that, because she's a really, really good educator. I have really enjoyed her, Kathy Cates. The other thing is, a lot of our experts do telemed appointments. If you want to talk to them, just connect with me and we can figure that out. On this handout too, I'm going to stop sharing and let me see if I can get to our website really quick to show you this.
The videos.
Here we go. This is our Hope After Breast Cancer website. It looks a little different right now because we're doing a brain fog challenge next week, but it normally looks like this. And if you just, if you go to the menu up here and you go to just quick links, you guys, that's the easiest way to do it. You get this list of links and then just scroll down to go to Sex After Breast Cancer, Sex After Breast Cancer videos. If you click on that, look, importance. These are all, see, this is Kathy Cates, who's our pelvic floor therapist. She does an interview there. There's a whole bunch of different experts on here that are doing different videos. And so you can just go through here. Chris is on here explaining a lot of the stuff that I said. Now, one other thing, one of our experts is out of Melbourne, Australia, and her name is Tess DeVez, and she's fantastic. But you could go right now to YouTube and go to her page. Oops, that was not the correct one. Stop the share. Hang on one sec.
No, and I put the page, I put it in the Facebook group so they can access that page.
Oh, shoot. Why? Are you seeing still the website, Mary?
I'm YouTube. I'm seeing.
Oh, YouTube. Oh, good. I'm seeing. Okay, so you're seeing the Intimacy OT.
The Intimacy OT.
Okay, so this is Tess's page, and again, she's out of Australia, and she teaches people to just have better sex. And so she's a sex therapist. She's an occupational therapist who specializes in sex. So look, best 10 sex positions during chemo, right? I mean, seriously, you guys, there's a lot of stuff on here. So, and she works with people that have all kinds of things. She's a stage 3 breast cancer girl as well. Still kind of going through the war on that, but she's fantastic and just really knowledgeable and just really wants to help. So yeah, so that's another one. You can just hit her subscribe button and you can join her email list and all that kind of thing. And she's active in our sex group as well. So that's good.
Perfect.
So that's all I got for you for now. And look at it, it's 3:58. Whoops.
Let's see if anybody has a question.
Yeah.
Ada,
any questions?
Yes, I actually do have a question. Sorry I was late to the group. I completely forgot. But do you find these techniques are more for older women who have gone through menopause as opposed to women who are undergoing chemotherapy, you know, in their 30s and 20s?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Um,
matter when you're forced
uh,
into when you go through medically induced menopause, you might as well be 60. You know, it's the same
but
physiological process.
but some women, as we are younger, our periods do return, right?
Right,
So
right.
in that, how many women do you think, in terms like younger women, have you worked with that have been able to reverse vaginal I can never pronounce that damn word.
Atrophy. Yeah, atrophy.
It's
Yeah,
such a weird word. You know what I mean? I have
Mhm.
found certain fruits and vegetables to have helped. Like fenugreek is, I know, fantastic for when you're breastfeeding, and I use those products. So I was very surprised to see that on the list, because I was like, I hate the taste of it. It is disgusting. But I mean, if it's going to help, I'm one of those persons that I do natural before I try any
Right, right.
hormonal product or anything like that. But again, so with working with young women, have you found that there has been more of a positive reversal on that with the natural, um, I guess, things out there, natural products, natural whatever, as opposed to just chemical or hormone stuff like that?
Yeah, I am unable to quantify it because I have my hands in quite a few different areas in our community. And so I'm not doing studies about how many women did thus and such. Like I said, I'm going to do the polls today so that we can kind of see where the preponderance of success is. Excuse me. But that would be a great question for you to just put on the page, you know, because then gals that are younger can respond. And so we can do kind of an unofficial survey to figure that out, if that's okay.
Oh, so I guess most of the women that you do work with have been older then. It has not been really like my age group.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. There are over 4,000 girls in the group. They're all over the
Okay.
place. No, there's,
Okay.
yeah, no,
But
they're all over the
all
place.
ages.
So what I'm saying is I don't do surveys of them to figure out what's working, what's not. That might be, we can even have Chris weigh in on that about what her success rate has been, or, you know, that kind of thing. But I think the better thing would be for you to just ask a question and say, you know, who's in my age range that has had success with XYZ.
Okay.
And it's a very, very active page. There's a lot of
Yes,
posts
it is.
going on every day.
And
Yeah,
there's a lot of young people in there too.
yeah, lots.
But what group is this one that we're talking about? Because
Sex after breast cancer.
okay, so that's a different one than has that one been posted in Booby Bodies?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's one of my groups. I mean, yeah,
I can post it in there.
I have multiple groups. And so, yeah, sex after breast cancer is something that it's different than Booby Buddies because that's for mostly newly diagnosed girls. It's the one that I started 9 years ago, but I started sex after breast cancer in 2017, and now there's over 4,000 girls in there. So yeah,
Oh,
and that
okay.
is specifically to talk about our intimate lives. So there's girls of all kinds of ages in there, honey. So yeah, please join us. We'd love for you to do that.
Okay, I think that's the group I'm definitely interested. Again, I'm working with younger women, and this is one of
Yeah.
the topics that
Yes.
we're having difficulties finding, and I'm doing my best to find as much as information. But I do believe that there's reversals, just because I've seen a few things that I've done for myself, and I've seen a difference. Just being able to, you know, from going from no sex to even having sex to, you know, just where there's no pain anymore, you know, and I think that's a major thing.
That's important.
So I just want to help other women, you know, younger women understand, and what you said, that there are reversals for that, and you know, it's not impossible.
Right. And I think that the reason why I started the group is that there was no group. There was no place where it was being discussed. And I didn't want to just get all of us in there to just complain about our sex lives. I wanted to find solutions, right? So that's why I went and got the experts. And so I know you came to the call late, but please watch the beginning of this call too, so you can see we've got everything from gynecologists to sex therapists to pelvic floor therapists and more in the group. So they're doing videos for us and trying to educate us as best we can. So the solutions that we're giving, that handout that Mary's got in her challenge group, is something that you can bring to your gynae to show them, hey, how about these things? So it's a good tool for you, I think.
Are these mostly American doctors?
These are mostly American doctors. Tess is the only international in Australia. She's the sex therapist.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that is a good point, because if you have international girls, it's really interesting, because I know there's been some discussion in the group. I can't remember what. There was one solution, and I forgive me that I don't remember what it is, but the UK girls said, "Oh, our doctors won't let us use that for our vagina. It's for smoking cessation in
Well,
the UK."
that's a lot of the things that you have mentioned is like, I'm from Canada,
Yeah,
and so there's a discrepancy of across boards in terms of medication. So you can
right,
name 10 products and on that list, and we might be able to one thing. Right.
right.
So Canada is very restricted on that. Do you work with any Canadian
No,
companies or
no,
any?
not at this point. I don't have any Canadian experts, no.
Okay.
But thank you for saying that, because that's important too. And like I said, I found that out from the UK too. I think everything is just available across all borders, but it's
Yeah,
not true at all.
it's not. So there could be some things that you're mentioning where I know are available for face products, but I've never heard for anything.
Right.
Hydrochloric acid, I know, is again, I used to work in a beauty salon. I used to do a lot of, facial masks. We provide that, but I've never heard that in terms of using
Yeah,
vaginally.
and
So
and remember, it's hyaluronic acid, so I
yeah,
don't know if it's the
that's
same thing, yeah, that
yeah.
you were using. So yeah,
But I
careful
don't know
not.
if this company will ship out of the United States. It's the Bonafide, it's Hello Bonafide.
Yeah,
I don't know if they sell it out of the States.
yeah,
Again, that's something I'd have to investigate, because there's a lot of things that do not come into Canada.
Yes.
So that's why I was asking if there's any organization, any cancer organizations, any doctors or anything that you've worked with specifically in Canada, because then that would give me more of something, to work with. I'm going to have to Google everything there to see whether we can even get it in, first of all.
Yes.
But it'd be interesting to see if there are Canadian organizations out there that are specifically involved in this, sex, cancer, chemotherapy kind of talk, because from so far what I see, there's none.
Ada, there's girls from 28 countries in our group, so please post there also for girls from Canada to weigh in, because they may have found some solutions there. So yeah,
Okay.
get yourself in the group, girl. Okay, and
Yes,
I think that you'll
link.
enjoy the discussion, and I think that you'll challenge us
You can look for Sex After Breast Cancer Facebook group.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Easy.
Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Glad you were here.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's good. Well, good, Mary. Are we all set?
I think so. I don't think Letty has any questions, so we are good.
Very good.
Until tomorrow, that we are going to talk about how to look younger and feel younger, energetic. So tomorrow is the day for that.
Very good. Good. Well, thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you, Jan. And
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank
Thank
you.
you for being here,
Thank
girls.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.